Man, I woke up at like 5 a.m. and I've kind of just been laying here awake since. I went to bed at 1, and the thing that didn't really help with this whole situation was that it was probably like 3 hours editing yesterday's video, which is probably a little bit too much, even though the edits were kind of spicy and it was a lot of fun. I feel like I've earned the ability to take it easy today, so today's gonna be a pretty chill, slow-paced video, just chugging along, productive vibes, as soon as I manage to get out of bed. Just so I can have a good measure of this, I'm gonna record how long it takes me to edit each video, just so I can kind of dial in on that a little bit more. Anyway, hope you're enjoying the daily videos so far. I've actually been really enjoying making them and editing them, surprisingly. I mean, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't enjoy that. They're kind of easy enough to just slap together. And I find it a whole lot easier to at least shoot for the idea of only taking half an hour to edit every single day instead of recording all this footage. Sunday rolls around, I sit down, I take the whole day off on Sunday and edit for 12 hours straight. Like that. This just seems a lot more doable to me. So what am I gonna do today? I just did this completely accidentally, but it looks very cool. Wow. It's amazing what kind of effects you can get just with simple pixels. But I guess that is everything, because if you look close enough, well, there's pixels down there. But you know what I mean. Pixels at this kind of scale of fatness. Like you can still just make some really cool stuff. Look at that. Okie dokie, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Daily Rando, where we make a game pretty much from scratch using C++, only for operator overloading though. This is all in an attempt to grow as a programmer and just get really, really good at game development one day in like 3 years time once I've figured out how to write shit from scratch properly. Could be up in Unity right now, shitting out gameplay, but I'm taking the slow path and in a couple of years time, hoping it'll pay off. There's a really fine line between ignoring all the potential areas that I could go improve on for the sake of just getting a game done versus me actually going and fixing those things like this and like this. Because once I do that, it'll simplify the code base so much more and allow me to write gameplay code a lot faster. So that's just something I grapple with on a daily basis. And it's something that I grappled with yesterday, especially when writing coroutines from scratch. Now, I'm extremely glad I did it because it has simplified this interaction function so much to the point where it reads like actual poetry. But there's an extra thing I could do here because I don't really know how to just shoot off another thread of execution and go do a task, but then continue on with the coroutine, right? Because what I'm trying to do here, right, is as soon as this gets snipped, we spawn a particle thing there, right? And then the seed falls down. But what I want to happen, right, is the particle spawn, seed falls down, and then over the next 2 seconds, the seed does like a little shaky animation, like some kind of Pokeball or some shit, and has the potential to duplicate out into another seed. But the thing is, we can't do that in the coroutine and just go like wait 2 seconds and do that whole animation thing because it'll freeze up the coroutine and now all of a sudden over the next 2 seconds the player won't be able to go back to the start and start the interaction loop all over again. That's an issue that I'm having, and I feel like at this point that issue just gets solved if you move up to a scripting language like C# or Lua. Which is the benefit of those languages. Like there's a reason why it's so easy to write code in Unity because it's C# and you've got all the power of that like high level scripting, right? But I'm thinking there's probably some kind of idea here, sending off some kind of task to do, which I think will get solved if I learn how to do multi-threading properly from scratch. So that's one of my limitations at the moment. Another one of my limitations is memory arenas. I still have not, despite me knowing how to use them, kind of, I don't know how to write them from scratch. And I don't know how they work behind the scenes, so I don't know how to use them to their full potential. So that's another thing that I've got to figure out. Thinking the whole thread job thing can wait. Got him. And we can just ignore that for now. That's more of like a Polish thing anyway. But the memory arenas, I'm thinking will make a big difference to the way my entire game state is structured. So yeah, I really don't know. It is one big delicate dance of, should I go figure this out? Is it going to be valuable enough to the point where it's worth me stopping gameplay and figuring that out? Or should I just continue on with gameplay and kind of get this game done? And I'm leaning towards the latter because I would like to have this game out on the 29th. So in 4 days time, I would at least like to have a demo out by then, right? You see, it's things like this where it's not immediately obvious what the benefit is going to be short term for me stopping everything that I'm doing right now and just going to learn that. And at the limit for me right now, that's where mathematics lies. It's like, oh, should I really take an hour out of my day to go study some math? Like, I know logically that of course it's going to benefit me long term, but there's no like very clear short term gain from it. So my monkey brain is like, let's just shit out this game and ignore that. All right, I think the greater issue here is, all right, now we're diving into some deep shit. So my issue here is fundamentally one of context switching and mixed goals. The reason I'm pushing so hard for gameplay right now is because I feel like there is a pressure to deliver a game quickly. And that pressure arose from me reading the comments a few days back and just wanting to finish a game to prove a point. But I've already proved that point. I've released 2 projects from scratch already. So if you want to see that I can ship, go look at those projects. I can actually get it done. But the thing is, if I'm always just trying to ship, if I'm always just trying to like bang out these like 1-2 week projects over and over and over again, then I'm not going to have the time to be able to delve really deeply into the fundamental problems that I need to solve in order for me to get faster at writing gameplay code. And right now it's very much a split mind of in gameplay code mode, but I don't have the tools to be able to write the gameplay code fast because I'm obviously not using something like Unity or Godot with all the existing kind of ecosystem there to be able to shit out gameplay code. This is always what happens. This happened to me in the past as well when I was working on Arcane originally. Towards the end of the stream highlight era, I literally just stripped away everything and I was like, all right, we need to go learn math. But now I've come back and it was from more of like a top-down gameplay first vibes. But now we're back to square one where it's like, all right, well, we just actually need to go learn what's happening here. And by we, I mean me, of course. I don't know why I'm saying we. The collective we, yes, you and I, for better or for worse, we're in this together. Now, the only reason I've set the deadline for having a game done by the 29th is so I can prove a point. But now that I don't give a flying fuck what you guys think about me, I'm free to do whatever I want. And what do I really want to do? I want to learn the fundamentals so I can better write gameplay code in future. Asterisk, the mistake I've made in the past is what happened in the last project, Game B. I focused on the tech, right, the fundamentals, but it wasn't serving a higher order gameplay goal. So I was kind of like flailing around just writing a line renderer for the sake of writing a line renderer. But now that I've got an actual project here, which is a use case for all the things that I need to learn, and I've got a vague idea of the fundamentals that I need to learn, memory arenas, threading, math for good measure, right? I can really just go do the fundamentals and then just like really just go balls deep in it, bro. And then once I'm feeling kind of bored of that, then I can just swap back into gameplay mode and pick right back up where I left off. So I think I'm in a really good spot here to say, fuck the game deadline. We're not going to be in gameplay mode going forward. All right, let's back up a little bit. What is my goal? All right, so let's be clear here. My goal over the next decade is to become one of the best game developers in the world. Full stop. And from where I'm standing right now, there are 2 main responsibilities for me as that game developer. There is writing the actual gameplay code and being able to write that gameplay code as fast as humanly possible. And in order to scale up to that point, I need to take this part, which is like the fundamentals of programming, so it can serve the gameplay. The only way I'm going to become one of the world's best game developers is if I get the fundamental programming down pat. Otherwise, I'm just writing gameplay code with one arm tied behind my back. Now, is that to say that you can't become a really, really good game developer and even make amazing games without understanding the fundamentals and just sitting at the high level doing scripting in Unity or something like that? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying here. In the past, I've probably fallen into that trap of being like, the only way to write good games is to do it from scratch. But it's simply not true. Game engines are an extremely good use case for the majority of people. But I'm not trying to be the majority of people here. Now that may come off as cocky and arrogant and egotistical and all of those things. And yeah, I'd kind of agree with you on that one. Go big or go home. All right, I think it's time for a study arc. I am not gonna put this off any longer. If you wanna see a game, come back in a few months' time. Man, reading comments at scale is actually the worst thing you can do for your brain. Like literally all that's churning through my mind right now is something comes out of my mouth and it's like, oh, someone's gonna leave a comment on that if I don't clear this up. Like it's just this endless game of fucking whack-a-mole. I'm so goddamn sick of it. I'm so sick of putting a filter on everything that comes out of my mouth and caring what other people think about what I'm up to. I just gotta do me at the end of the day. And I'm sure if you're a person who has left a comment in some of the recent videos and you're like expressing concern or whatever, right? First of all, you've watched like an 8-minute video, you don't know me, you don't know my goals, and you have a bit more of a better idea of my goals now that I've kind of laid them out there, but still, you don't have everything that's going on in my mind. So from the get-go, your concern is probably just invalid. Not that I don't appreciate it, I know you're just trying to look out for me, but I didn't ask for it. I've got my own prefrontal cortex telling me what to do. I don't need yours as well. Just sit back, relax, trust me in my ability to figure out what I need to get done. And in a decade's time, I'll be the world's best game developer. And I guess we can leave it at that.